It's Tommy.
Yeah. You need to work on your nose hair.
Yeah,
nose-
can't braid that stuff.
she's got her face down there. I got the nostril side. That's all right. Wow, lovely picture of you, Tommy. Oh my gosh. Wearing a Yankee uniform? No wonder you're not in the Hall of Fame.
There are too many good ones.
Oh. Well, everybody played for the Yankees are in anyway, so.
Yeah. If you were halfway decent, you would be in. Yeah. Hey, you grew up whereabouts in Oklahoma?
I grew up in a small town of 661 people, Binger, just like finger with a B, Binger, Oklahoma.
Now, wasn't that close to where Mantle grew up?
No. It was actually we were southwest Oklahoma City. He was almost all the way up to the Missouri border. He was the Commerce Comet. Yeah. The Commerce Comet, and he was born in Swalvino. You asked me about Mantle, I'll tell you all about it. He was my idol, and growing up was just, as much as you could get, and the information you could get from a newspaper once a week. And when your parents would let you stay up late enough to see Ross Porter, do the sports.
If you don't mind, why don't you make the introduction? Welcome on to Rubbing Elbows, and then we'll get going.
Who, me?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. We've got Rubbing Elbows with Tommy John, and our guest is the handsome and athletic Johnny Bench.
That's the best introduction I've ever had. Thank you, Tommy. You must have been valedictorian.
Hey, that's because I'm gay.
Oh,
yeah, nice. Well, we're gonna have to edit that one out.
Where we're going to go? That'll bleep that out. Here we go.
Yeah. Well, at least you're around when he's getting out of the closet.
This is the first time you've done this. This is great. Yeah, let's go with that. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Hi, everybody. I'm Tommy John. We're rubbing elbows with Johnny Bench today, and the old left-hander here. How's
rubbing
that
and rubbing butts.
Oh, nice.
Hey,
you sure
when you were a little boy, did you always catch?
I was 3.5 years old when I was watching the broadcast, and the announcer came on and said, "Now batting the next superstar, the switch-hitting center fielder from Oklahoma, Mickey Mantle, of course." And I looked at my dad and I said, "You can be from Oklahoma and play in the major leagues? That's what I want to be." And he said, "Well, catching was the quickest way to the major leagues and what the major leagues needed." Because my dad, his dream was to be a major league catcher, and the war came along. He dropped out of school. He served 8 years in the Army, never had the chance. So he wanted one of his sons. I was I was the youngest of 3 boys. And he started the team, and I was going to be a catcher, although I very seldom caught. I was a pitcher. We only had 10 boys out for the baseball team. And in Little League, we barely found 9 guys to play because a town of 600 people, you had to go knock on doors and try to find a kid that could play. It wasn't working or mowing a yard. And so everybody knew I was a catcher. I just never caught.
That's amazing. That's amazing that you're one of the best catchers to ever play the game. And you had a hard time being a catcher when you started out. That's pretty daggone good.
Well, I was 84-3 lifetime pitching. So that had a little bit maybe to do with it. So.
Yeah, what if you were 87-0? Would you have been a pitcher?
No, I had 643, so they thought that was okay to go along with the catching. In fact, I would pitch the games, and I only pitched the finals. I pitched the finals of the county, the finals of the bid district, the finals of the by-district, finals of the regional, finals of the invitation, finals of the state. And I took infield as a catcher, so the scouts could watch me throw. And then I went down to Anadarko, Oklahoma, and that may not sound like something but it was right. We're close to the same age, obviously, but you've got Dodger history on your side. Well, they had a third baseman for the Los Angeles Dodgers by the name of Darrell Griffith. And
right.
Darrell's brothers and I played together in American Legion ball. So there were a lot of scouts coming down to watch them play. And so I was kind of a residual. They saw me play as well. and I was playing American Legion baseball when I was 15 with the Griffith boys.
You were playing American Legion ball at 15?
Well, there really wasn't much competition, Tommy. I mean, we didn't have teams. We didn't have enough players barely at 13 and 14. So Anadarko was 20 miles away, and I would drive down there and play. There was another kid named Matt Kuykendall that played with the Cubs for a little bit. So I would drive to Anadarko, and that was the only chance I really had of playing during the summer. We just didn't have any other leagues.
So you signed to play pro baseball when?
1965. I was 17. I got I was drafted by the Reds in the second round. The Reds had very little. I didn't even know they were on the radar. The Cubs really wanted me, and the loose lips at a convention, somebody said, "What do you think about this kid Bench?" And the Reds guys said, "Well, we're not that high on him." And they walked out the door and said, "Who's Bench?" They haven't even heard of me. Had no chart, and they sent 2 scouts in, saw me play 2 games, and one liked the way I threw. Now, here's something, Tom. If I would have been a Cub, they had Randy Hundley.
Right.
So I'm in the major leagues when I'm 19 years old. I don't know that would have happened in Chicago. So it was very fortuitous.
The big red machine up in the sky had something planned for you.
They must have. How blessed was I?
Either. No, you know, things happen for the right reason. And the right reason for you was you were meant to be a Cincinnati Red.
I guess. And, and to be able to play on that team. And then, we had a great team with Lee May and Tommy Helms. And then we traded them to Houston, and we got Joe Morgan and Geronimo and Minky and Billingham, and wound up being even better. And that's when we really had the great years through the middle 70s.
Really? You guys had a good, yeah. I seem to remember that.
Good. Well, this was a mental test on your part. Okay. They asked me, "Can you come on and help Tommy? He's slipping a little bit." And I said, "Well, that means 2 slippers are on the same podcast." Because I can hide my own Easter eggs. It's really good.
It's funny that some of the best games I ever pitched were against Cincinnati, Philadelphia, and Boston. 3 of the teams that were big opponents on the team that I was. Boston when I was with the Yankees, and the Reds and the Phillies when I was with the Dodgers. And good players make you go to a little higher level.
Oh, yeah.
Of ability.
They focus the height, and everything is heightened to that extent, the build up for it. And some people can handle it. And obviously you were one, although if you'd have hit better, you would have won more games. I understand that you had 188 no decisions.
188 no decisions. Yeah.
Now that's unheard of.
I know.
That is unheard of. I mean, that in itself, with 288 wins, and those no decisions meant that you got you went deep in the game most of the time. I think the first game that I faced you, and I didn't like facing you because you wouldn't throw the fastball down the middle. You kept cunny thumbing little stuff up there on the edges and everything else. I wish I had a different.
Oh, tell the people what cunny thumbing is.
Cunny thumbing is just when you won't throw it hard. You're going to cut speeds. You're going to move a little more. You'll throw a slider out there. You'll throw the sinker out there. You're never going to give in. You're just going to nibble around the edges. One of those cunny thumbers. Yeah, that's all it is. Just do it like that. Throw it like a man, for God's sake. We'd scream that from the dugout. Somebody challenge somebody. That's what. Now, I wish I had a different approach. I didn't have great success against you, but I wish I'd had a different approach. Because Randy Jones, not, similar left-handed, not a little less velocity, if you can believe that. But he was, I couldn't hit him with a boat oar. And Bob Bailey one day, he said before the game, I said, I can't hit this guy. And he said, well, look for his slider. And I said, he doesn't throw me a slider. He said, just look for the slider. Well, when I looked for the slider, the sinker just turned over and set. It was like on a tee. I hit 3 home runs that night. So if you're, tell me when your next start is, because I want to get even, okay?
You hit a home run off me, didn't you?
I know I got one off of you, but you got me a lot more. That's still what it is. You still cunny thumbed it up there. I don't care. I'm not changing my attitude about you.
You know, the whole thing was, I got the ball. I threw it over the plate, or not down the middle, but on the corners. And you would have to hit it. And hopefully would hit it to where my infielders or outfielders were. And that was, to me, that was pitching.
Now, what was your average number of pitches a game, would you say?
Well, the first game I won in the big leagues, I pitched 9 innings and I threw 72 pitches.
Oh, geez. Well, then you got him to hit the ball. You weren't out there to overpower anybody.
That's
Nobody would look at your stats. They would say 288 wins, 188 no decisions, but they would, some people are still eaten up with the fact that you need so many strikeouts. You need so many this. I mean, you overpower somebody when you and Greg Maddux and guys like that were masters of the craft. And so if you don't look at numbers like that, if you get obsessed with that, then 72 pitches, that's ridiculous.
Well, I would say I averaged, when I won ball games, it would be maybe in the low 90s.
Yeah, sounds right.
And that's the speed of my fastball now. That's the number of pitches.
So let's just give the folks a little bit of what was the top end of that blazing fastball? You had one. You just wouldn't throw it.
I wouldn't throw it. I could throw it 90, 91 miles an hour, but I chose to throw 84 to 87.
Right. Yeah. And
so I could take speed off or add speed on,
Sure.
and that, yeah.
Yeah. So I guess everybody's kind of done it. I feel like I want to interview you because I want to find out about the Tommy John surgery and what you felt the first time, and what diagnosis was there. When you had to see some doctor and he had to say, I've never seen this before, or you're washed up, you're done, your career's over, right?
No, I had a doctor with the Dodgers. His name was Frank Jobe. And when I hurt my elbow, we didn't have MRIs. All we had were X-rays. So all they could see was the bone in my elbow, and it was fine. But my elbow was loose. And Dr. Jobe said, I think you've torn the ligament in your elbow. And my comeback to him was, okay, what do we do? And he said, well, I've never really done this before on somebody that makes a living throwing a baseball. He said, I've done ligament replacement surgeries on polio patients, but never on somebody that makes a living throwing a baseball. I said, okay, then don't do the surgery. He said, I can tell you this. If we don't do the surgery, you'll never pitch again. I said, okay, if we do the surgery. And he said, you probably won't pitch again. Probably won't pitch is a heck of a lot better than never pitch. So I said, okay, let's do it. And that was
what age were you at this time?
That was 1974. I was 31, which is quite old, actually.
It is, yeah, for a left-handed pitcher, and back in those days, you were over the hill at 32, 33. They were going to farm you out anyway, put you out to pasture.
Well, they would have put me out to pasture with the Dodgers, but fortunately for me, they got a new shepherd in, by the name of Lasorda.
The wizard.
You know, you talk about baseball BS. Everything that came out of the mouth was BS.
Perfect. You described it. That's all you have to say. Yes. That was the perfect way of doing it. He was the best car salesman I ever saw.
Oh, yes. Yes, he could sell you a used car and all that. Yeah, absolutely. I tell you what he did one time. He would always call us up. Hey, TJ, yeah, can you come get me tonight? Okay. So I go by his house, pick him up, pick up Bill Russell, pick up Bert Hooton, and maybe Joe Ferguson, and we go to the ballpark. Well, this one Sunday morning, we had just gotten home from church, and Lasorda. Whoa, that's
tornado. Just a tornado warning here. Don't worry about it. Let me get the alarm here. No, it's no big deal. It's just a high end. Keep talking. You're doing a great job.
I got one of those the other night, Johnny, and it was an Amber Alert. Some little girl had been kidnapped.
Yeah, I get those all the time down here
on the east coast of Florida.
Yeah. Oh, really? Okay.
But anyhow,
all right. But it was the free lunch. I mean, it was always. Well, you were going to the ballpark. He made you pick you up and take you to the ballpark.
Yeah.
Attaboy, Tommy.
When he was a manager, we'd have to go by and pick him up. Now, how many managers did Sparky Anderson ever call you up and say, "Hey, JB"?
Never did. No, he never did. No, after I retired, I retired, and of course, Tommy and I did the baseball bunch, but I went down to see Tommy at the office, when he'd come into the Cincinnati to, for them to play, and I'd go in, and of course, first thing he had was a dozen or two baseballs so that I could sign them so he could give them away across America so he could get a free dinner. Oh yeah, I just quit going to see him. I mean, he was a beauty. What a beauty. He loved talking about it. And, the great thing was he had great players to back him up. I mean, that infield of yours, which was, I think, 8 years that it was intact.
Yes.
Unheard of.
Garvey, Lopes, Russell, and Say.
Yep, the Penguin.
It was funny that Lasorda money to him was like gold to me. And he called us up on a Sunday and he said, "I'm going to come by and pick you up." Oh, okay. And so I told my wife, I said, "Geez, that's amazing that Tommy's doing this because he doesn't usually do that." So we're waiting for him. He pulls up and she said, "Tommy, would you like a cup of coffee?" Oh, God, I would love it. So he's sitting there drinking a cup of coffee, and the guy's in the car saying, "Lasorda, let's go. We're going to be late." Don't worry about it. Well, you said, okay, here's the manager of the ball club driving you to the ballpark. You're going to be late, but he's the reason you're going to be late. So you don't have to worry about it. So we get to the ballpark. We're like 45 minutes late. And we're sitting there getting dressed to put our uniforms on to go out and run a little bit and whatever. And he comes out of his office and he said, "You four guys that were late have $100 on my desk. That's your fine for being late." We said, "Lasorda, you drove us." He said, "I don't care who drives you. You got to be here on time." And we had to put $100.
No.
And then I noticed his wife had a couple new outfits. And
Oh, yeah.
I know where the money went.
Yeah. Well, you got to dress for the next party. Oh my gosh, that is beautiful. That is beautiful. So how old are you now? What are you, 80 yet?
I will be 80 May 22nd.
May 22nd. Wow. How you feeling?
I've been better. I've got a little bladder cancer
No.
that every Tuesday. I see I've got 3 more Tuesdays to go to get, it's not chemotherapy, it's BCG. It's something they mix up and they put in my bladder, and it kills whatever cancer cells that are in there.
I hope so. I hope so. We don't need to be messing around. I mean,
But it's
don't we all, we used to talk about, this and that and this and that. Now, what are we talking about? The weather and what kind of medications you're on. It's like I turned 75 in December, and I said to this friend of mine that I thought was a friend, and I said, "Do I look 75?" She said, "No, but you used to." I said, what kind of deal is this? Oh yeah, you used to. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, the old times is the old times. But how long you been doing the podcast?
this year.
This year?
Yeah, about a year.
Yeah.
We started with Reggie, Bucky, Jim Cott, Steve Garvey.
Bucky Dent.
Yeah, there's only one Bucky.
Bucky Beaver.
Well, he didn't play that long.
Do you still play golf?
No. No, warranty ran out on all my parts. I just sort of didn't enjoy it. But at the same time, I had 78 chips taken out on my shoulder from the foul balls and tore up the cartilage. I had to reattach my bicep. I suffered from the car wreck I had when I was 18, a drunk driver on the wrong side of the 4-lane. And I've got boys now, they're 17 and 13, and then Bobby's 33. So right now, my whole life is centered around tennis, soccer, school, fixing breakfast, getting them off to school at 7 o'clock in the morning, feeding them at night. And I'm perfectly happy. I haven't made a bogey in quite a while.
And you used to play quite a bit, though, didn't you?
Yeah, I played 9 senior tour events. Yeah, I played well through a period of time, and then that drunk driver, when the impact was on I went out to pass a bus on a 4-lane highway, and here's the drunk driver on the wrong side. He hit my brakes, hit me right in the door, and the doctor said, "You're going to pay for this later on in your life." So I had to have both hips replaced because of the impact right on the door. And I've got like 5 or 6 bad discs, but I'm a catcher. It's just what life is. You walk like a catcher. That's the good thing about it. When people see me, they walk, they say, "Oh, you were a catcher." So they automatically know. Hell, you didn't get this way naturally. You were a catcher. So I paid the price.
When you playing golf, if you had to get a foursome, who would be in your foursome? The other 3 golfers?
Bobby Knight, Arnold Palmer, and you always want to say your dad. My dad would have just, I don't know if he could have got the tee in the ground. I felt that way the first time I teed it up with Arnold. I couldn't get the ball on the tee, but that would be pretty good. I played a lot of golf with Freddie Couples. I played with Jack, but Arnold was the king. Arnold was doing it, and then Bobby Knight. I named and probably I wouldn't. Bob Hope was obviously who my oldest son is named after, Bob Hope and Bobby Knight, and Bobby was just a great friend. We fished, we fly fished. I've only been shot one time really with hunting, and that was, well, he's friend. I can't give Bobby the credit. We were hunting along the creek, and it's windy as hell. You couldn't hear anything. I couldn't hear the birds flush or anything else. They were on the other side of the creek, and it kind of wound around, made a little curve here. So they went around it, and I went ahead. And the next thing you know, I hear bam, bam, and I'm up in front. And fortunately, I've got this real thick hunting jacket on and a hat and everything else. And all of a sudden, splat. I mean, I'm getting pellets all over my back and my hat and everything else. And I immediately hit the ground. And I could hear Bobby back there. "Oh, hell, you killed the catcher. You killed the catcher." I was afraid to get up. I thought that was still incoming. I thought they were still taking rounds, but we laughed. We still laughed about that, but we go fishing, we go hunting, we played golf. One of the great moments, and I got to go to the Olympic trials when he was coaching the basketball team for the Olympic. And we were out in San Diego, and I got to practice. I had my own uniform. I got to practice with Jordan and Mullins and Tisdale and Ewing. And I mean, it was just one of those great moments in my life. So I've had some great experiences with Bobby.
Bobby Knight was a good man. We're playing in a golf tournament back in Indiana, and I get a phone call like about 6 o'clock in the morning, and hello, and they said, we need you to come out and play this morning round and play the afternoon round. Okay. So my dad is my roommate, and he said, what's wrong? Who died? And I said, Pop, not every phone call is a death call. He says, well, when you get my age, it is. And they want me to play with Bob Knight. You're going to play with Coach Knight? Yeah. Oh, I'll be there. So he said, but I got to have breakfast. So he goes over and gets breakfast, and I'm out on the golf course. And I told Bob, I said, now my dad's going to come up in a bit. He said, okay, I'll take care of him. So he comes, and my dad's sitting there, and he said, Mr. John, get your ass over here. Tommy, get your ass over in that cart. So my dad and I flipped carts. And the next 13 holes, Bob Knight and my dad they were yakking it up and talking and laughing. And I said, I don't care what he does. He will never, ever have a bad word in my vocabulary, because he made an old man feel so special that day. That was Bob Knight. People know him as Bob Knight throwing a chair and all that. Well, yeah, he gets a little upset, but he could coach basketball, though, Johnny.
Oh, I went over for practice, and I stayed for the game. And at that time, they had a guy named Steve Alford. And
yes.
Steve could shoot it. Oh my gosh! And so now the game's over, and Indiana's won, and I'm in the locker room, and he's taking me and stepping in front of every locker, introducing me to every player. And we get to Steve Alford. And he said, Steve, this is the greatest defensive player ever in the history of baseball. Johnny, would you please tell Steve something about defense? And I said, well, you go out and score 30, your man scores 20. That's defense. God damn, I'm not going to tell me everything. I said, Coach, if every player outscores their player, their guy they're guarding by 10, you're going to win by 50. I said, what the hell do you want anyway? So, yeah, that was our relationship. And oh my gosh.
But that's good. I love that.
Yeah.
But that's Coach Knight. That's Coach Knight. That's Bob Knight.
Yes, it is. We have the whole respect. We have our own respect. We know the man and we love the man.
Yeah. Who was your favorite teammate?
Now that would be hard, because we were blessed. There was nobody better than Tony Perez. Joe Morgan and I were so close together. Pete and I were in business forever. You had Freddie Norman. You had, Jack Billingham. I don't think there was a guy on there, and you can take Cesar Geronimo and Pedro Borbon. I don't think there was a guy on there that I could say anything negative about. They were just absolutely quality, wonderful people. And I still talk to a lot of them.
And I tell you what, they could play baseball too.
You noticed that? Yeah, I was blessed, obviously, when people do that. And I still speak across the country, and people come up to me and said, I was a Cub fan. I was a Phillies fan, but boy, we respected you guys. And then they start naming the lineup. They know where everybody was in the lineup. Cross Griffey, in their outfield. And, it was like they respected the way we played. And that's what made the Dodgers and us so great, is the fact that we had continuity. We had the continuity of being together and the players, and you could recognize them. You knew exactly who was
Right.
going to be there every day, and you could pull for them, and you had an association. Now it's a lot different, but it's a money game now.
Watch the
What would you do with 30 million a year? What the hell?
It's because you got some guy sitting up there from Harvard or Yale that's into analytics telling the pitching coach or the manager when this guy should hit or when this pitcher should pitch and how many pitches and all that. Come on.
Tommy, this is very vital. You have to know what the barometric pressure is. You know how much the wood and the speed of the bat, the velo and the launch. I mean, you really got to get up with it, man. You're getting old. I can't tell you, it's like Sparky, they asked Sparky, said, how do you judge talent? And he went,
Right there. Yes.
I can see it.
Yes.
I can see it. You watch a guy throw and he said, ooh, this guy's got some stuff. This guy's got potential. This guy's got a release point. This guy's not hiding the ball. He's not allowing the ball to come out of the glove. He doesn't have a blind spot. He's not doing this. He's not changing speed. You can see that in a matter of nanoseconds. And
Absolutely.
yet we still have a guy that's been sitting in the basement that still doesn't know, how to hit a fungo, but he's got it all down. And here you are, and you're running it. And I think they're getting away from it a little bit, but at the same time, a lot of it's good. I can't, but here's the clock, the pitch clock. I love it. Now the bases.
I like the pitch clock because
you would have, they could have made it 10 seconds for you.
well, my was if I got you to hit before you were ready to hit, I had you.
Sure.
And I got the ball, boom, got back, got my sign, threw it, got the ball, boom, threw it. Let's go. And you're in there. And,
I can't compute that fast. Yeah, you're a cunny thumber. I don't care still.
Cunny thumber. I was a cunny thumber.
Took you how many wins? 288?
Yep. 288. And then I had the surgery done. I missed half of the 74 season, all of the 75 season. And then I came back and I pitched 76 to 79. And I never missed a start.
Really?
In the 13 years, never missed a start.
So tell me how it felt. Tell me how the arm felt.
Well, we didn't have, I asked Dr. Jobe, I said, what do you want me to do? When he took the cast off and all that. And he said, well, just get ready as if you were going to pitch a game. Okay. So he could let me throw. And I started throwing to my wife in the backyard. And, you just throwing the ball, little bloops there. Had I known then what I know now, I would have thrown harder, probably would have hurt my arm, but I would have hurt her more.
No, you couldn't hurt. I've seen her. She can handle your stuff.
Yeah, maybe. And then I moved up to my neighbor who played softball. I threw to him. Then we went to spring training, and down at Vero Beach, they have a wall. And I would go out there with 6 new baseballs every day, take a ball, throw it against the wall, boom, throw it against the wall. And that's what I did. And I did that 6 days a week. And I didn't throw on Sunday. And my reasoning was, if God rested on Sunday, so can Tommy John. And Sunday was my day of rest. And Monday I'd go back and I'd start throwing again. And I found there that the more I threw, the better my arm felt. So I went, whoa, okay. And from that time on, I threw almost every day.
Yeah.
When I got back on the field, I pitched out of I threw out of the bullpen and pitched a game. Instead of taking the next day off, I pitched. I threw. I threw to a catcher, Mark Cressy, in the Dodger. Just threw.
Now, let me ask you. I know that today, you go out to spring training. The first person that talks is the trainer. And you can only throw 60 pitches. You can only throw 40 pitches. He's going to do this. He's going to do that. I swear, the trainers now, and they've never, as far as I know, ever entered a major league game. I don't know how they can get inside in the neurons and start deciphering between how the brain's going to send the signal to the nerves and the arms and say you can only go 58 pitches or 62. But they're the first ones to talk now, and they're the first one to put you on the shelf. And they're the first ones that says, too many pitches.
Wow.
That's the one I get frustrated with, is more so than anything else. But it's past us. It's past us. They've done all right without us, I guess.
I guess they have, although every day I sit there and God, why couldn't my dad kept his pants zipped 50 more years so I could have hit some of the big money.
Yeah. Oh, well, we could say, what would you do for 500 million? I made 2.2 in my entire career. They make that in more than almost a week.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. But anyway, Johnny, it's been a pleasure talking to you, rubbing elbows with.
Is your camera tilted, or is mine tilted, or is your room tilted?
No, his camera's tilted.
My camera's tilted.
Okay, well, it's good. Well, you're left-handed. I mean, that's what I always said. There's every pitcher. I don't care where they came from. There were three different types of pitchers. There was the guy you introduce yourself to every day. Hi, I'm Johnny. I'm your catcher. Then there's the pitcher you work on mechanics. You're getting your arm up. You need to get your elbow, stay back, do that. And then the guys that you have to chew out every now and then. But there's that left-handed pitcher, and left-handed relievers are just a little bit. So your camera being tilted makes this a perfect podcast.
Perfect podcast.
Yeah.
All right, one quick question from me, Johnny. Who's the most famous baseball player not in the Hall of Fame?
Oh, all of them.
Got to be Tommy John.
Well, you've sold me on some numbers. 188 no decisions, 288 wins. That's amazing. That's amazing, especially when some of the other guys and their numbers. So,
and 700 starts.
That's a lot. Yeah.
And there was a
vote.
cool.
I mean, we don't vote, so we don't have votes. But it sounds like a good campaign to me. Kitty will be on it.
There was a
25
cool
and 25.
What's that?
There was a cool
number
stat
25 and year 25. 25 and 25.
That's right.
Oh.
Number 25 and 25. I even got a license plate for my British MGB that says TJ HOF 25. That's how
Good way
much
to keep the job.
That's right. Now there was a cool stat. There was a cool stat that when we were first looking up Tommy's stats, where based on what both of you were talking about earlier about Tommy being a working pitcher, getting the outs and things, that Tommy's the all-time leader for forced double plays.
Really?
Yeah, you're the leader for the forced double plays. So you got the ball on the ground and you got him out.
You got to be known for something.
That's right.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much.
That's going to be hard to put on a license plate, though. Forced double plays. Well, we give Tommy one of those.
Okay.
All right, guys, keep your horses running.
You got it. Thanks, Johnny.
See ya. All right. Thanks, TJ. All right.
That was a good one.
Did you like it?